Welcome.
Guys, not a camera, what's it called? The microphone is in the way of the screen, so I can't see it, but I'm saying hello.
Hey everyone, this is two set windscreen wipers.
When you have a bad day, we're here to wipe your screen. Wipe the sadness off.
Today we have a very special video, especially anyone that's learning an instrument or thinking of learning a stringed instrument. I think some of these tips apply to all instruments, but particularly for violin. This is 5 things we wish we knew when we first started learning the violin. We're about to condense 26... Wait, how? No, not 26.
When did you start? 24 for me.
22 for me. So let's average to 23.
23 years!
You're gonna combine.
No, total.
50 combined years experience of violin.
Oh! Still can't play, huh?
Yeah. As professional violinists that played in professional orchestras, but also caveat had broken dreams about being soloists, so we're not soloists.
So we're not the perfect example.
Yes.
But we'll try our best.
But hopefully if you watch this video, it will save you years so you can become the next Ling Ling. You can shortcut our painful failures.
50 years of mistakes shortcutted to you. So if you're 12, you instantly become Chloe Chua, Yes.
So the first one that I really wish you knew, it wasn't possible for us back in the day, but it is possible now, is subscribe to Two Set Violin.
Clearly, if you haven't done that, you should do it right now.
Because Chloe Chua subscribed to Two Set Violin,
Yeah.
and look how well she plays.
Hilary Hunt subscribed to Susan Violin.
Look how well she plays.
Even though she played well before, but by subscribing, she still plays well.
Exactly.
So we're just gonna wait 5 seconds for you to subscribe. Alright, did you subscribe? Let's go back.
Now we came up with a list of 5. There was actually a 6th one, which we wanted to touch on, but we felt that we already talked about it extensively, which is take care of your mental health. I think that definitely matters if you want to be in it for the longevity. We talked about it in that video, link here.
Go watch that after this if you haven't seen it.
Yes. Now the 5 tips we came up with, should we say them all now or should we go one by one?
One by one.
You'll
have to watch it.
Ahead.
Okay. First one, we're not telling the other 4. First one starts with an R. Okay, it's resonance.
Resonance.
Yeah.
This is something I realized only 5 years ago, and I had to really work so hard to change. I'm still working on it now, but it's really changed how I play as a player. Once you get intonation, once you get rhythm, and once you can kind of play accurately up to speed, whatnot, there's usually 2 things left that separate an average violinist from a great violinist. One is musicality, but funnily enough, I think musicality depends on the second one. And the second one is the tone. You'll notice the great players, the sound they make is just more beautiful. And I never understood why, how they made such beautiful sounds.
You always think, it's because they're just better, or
they have a
instrument,
Stradivari.
they play on a Strat, they have a taut bow. Of course the sound is going to be good.
And those things do make a difference, but really this concept is that you want to be able to let your instrument resonate as much as possible, right? If you listen to say something like this, right? Versus
Why did you look at me? You looked at me. I was like, well, don't stop. Don't look at me. You guys heard the difference?
Yeah, you heard the difference. Right?
Yeah, I heard.
I was just checking. I made sure I did it right.
No.
I'm sorry.
It's so funny. I don't know if you guys can hear it through this microphone, but first one, the sound, he was pressing, right? You're pressing a lot more on purpose.
Yeah.
It just sounds like you're choked. It's like, you're talking like this. The second one, this violin started, we call it resonating more, singing more.
Yeah.
I can hear the sound filling up the room.
And actually, this is the secret to how soloists can project in a huge big hall while still playing soft. They're playing soft, but the sound is resonating more. Okay, now, what does this really mean? A few ways that have helped me think about this question is, the first thing is to be able to hear it. You have to be able to hear what a resonant sound is. And then the second is to understand the technical principles that help produce resonance, right? So the first thing about hearing, something that I find helps a lot is you gotta start listening for the overtones.
What's an overtone?
Oh my
We're gonna stick on step
deep.
1.
Yeah.
You guys can look this up in your own time.
Google overtones harmonic series, but if you understand like physics, I'm playing a D, but it's not just a D that's sounding. There's these harmonics coming, right? So these
They're all
harmonics,
actually in there.
yeah, they kind of build up as a spectrum, but this one is just the principle that's loudest. Now, if you listen really carefully, and if you're playing with resonance, you should be able to hear.
Can I just add? It's almost like you don't hear it, you feel it. It just like the mini wave. Hello.
And we told our cellist friend this actually recently. Just when it clicked for him, and when he heard it, within 30 minutes his playing transformed completely.
And within a few weeks, the sound has improved a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my advice is try to learn to hear. It's not just open strings. Every note. Listen for the fifth. Once you can hear that overtone, I challenge you to try and get most of the overtone out without overly pressing the fundamental notes.
Yes, so if you're playing on a D on a violin, get more of the A, don't press the D so hard. And try and listen for the A, not for the D.
Exactly.
Because the D is so obvious. It's just there in your face.
It's already there.
It's hard to explain. Once someone gets it, once you hear it, you hear it.
Once you hear it, you'll hear it. But I mean, just for those, beginners, again, just to speed up the learning process, just understand that the main factors that affect this are bow speed, how much you're pressing on the string, the weight, the contact point, and the
amount of hair,
the
angle of the bow.
Yeah.
They all are related.
So changing one means the other has to change.
Yes.
And all that. And again, just before we move on, the reason that ties in to musicality is you can't have a true legato unless the overtones themselves.
That's true, because then the sound just goes. It cuts off.
The bass, the principal note is connected.
Yes.
In your phrasing, but your harmonics aren't.
Yeah.
That I wish I knew.
You know who I just think of? James Ennis playing his Bach encore. Was it Allegro?
No, it was the
Yeah, like the notes are not hard, but the fact that he made the whole page sound like one phrase, his overtones were just kept spinning, kept going to the back of the console. Anyway, great players can do that. Don't ask me how. I can't do it. Yes. All right, next one. Number 2. Good teachers for good foundations. Oh my god, this will like change your life. Good foundations is everything.
Everything.
Like bow hold, bow stroke, everything.
For example, no teacher told me about resonance. There's a balance, right? Because you want to learn pieces and play music. If you're just learning foundations, it can get really boring. At the same time, if you're too focused on learning concertos or like even learning your scales and etudes, but you don't understand what foundation you're trying to build with those scales and etudes, it's like there's a debt, and you're gonna pay for it in the future by having bad habits that can only get you up to here, but it won't let you sound like Janine Jansen.
Yeah, I have so many stories of just bad foundations.
Yeah.
Like one example was like, oh my god, there's so many.
There's so many, right?
I just held my violin, I was like, there's so many. Okay, the first obvious one that came to my mind was the way I placed my left hand. I used to play like this. So every time I have to move my fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4, you guys see it?
Right, yeah.
I have to go.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just have a good position, that's a lot easier. So these are basic things that can be taught as a beginner.
Yeah, I remember we were at a lesson with this
Great teacher.
She told me that my third finger vibrato sucked because instead of that, I should just do that. It's so personalized feedback in a lesson just made such a difference to my sound.
Yes. And can I also say it goes the other way. Sometimes a bad teacher will say you have a problem, but you don't actually have a problem. Ooh la la. It's happened to me before. I'll tell you one case example.
Yes.
I remember.
Oh no, I thought of so many just then.
Yeah, I remember I thought I had problems with my vibrato. Just for my vibrato, right? I always thought, I need to be wider, better, blah blah blah. To be honest, vibrato was never really taught to me. I was kind of figured it out myself. The good teacher was like, that's fine. Actually, it's not your vibrato that's making it not sound like this. It's actually something else. And problem solved. You go, whoa! It was actually my bow making that problem. I keep thinking the problem was my vibrato. It's not resonant, not wide enough to make it resonant enough, so actually it's
Yeah.
your bow. So a good teacher will tell you the right things
Yes.
to look out for.
Yeah, and not to say that the bad teachers are, like
Yeah.
out to teach you the wrong thing. No,
Yeah.
I think most teachers do care
Most
and
of
they
the
want the best.
They do try their best.
Yeah, it's like finding the soloist equivalent of a teacher, right? Like a teacher
That's
that's
very hard.
so good at giving personalized feedback, because also it's like the right feedback at the right time also makes a huge difference.
And
like,
it's not easy to teach.
yeah, it's different than what we're doing now. What we're doing now is just giving information, but to be able to see someone, hear them, and immediately pinpoint the 1 to 2 things that they must work on, and how they should work on it, and how to explain it to them so they get it.
Yeah.
And to do that for different people.
Yep. And when it clicks, the change happens on the spot.
Yeah.
You're like, that's it. You're like, huh? What have I done my whole life?
Yeah.
No, I practiced wrong. All those 40 hours. That's why I never became Ling Ling.
So yeah, finding a great teacher does make a big difference.
So yeah, I would say take your time finding one.
Yeah.
And change teachers if you need to,
Yeah.
Third one.
What's the third one again?
Your favorite. No such thing as a correct posture for everyone. Now, disclaimer, we don't mean like...
Don't do a stock photo.
Yeah. Just like, look, the violin still needs to somewhat look like this. But no such thing as the correct posture for everyone.
Yes. I mean, if you look at, I can never pronounce his name. Is it Cavacos?
Cavacos. Sorry, Cavacos, if you're watching this. Confession, I was too scared to ask him when we met. I never wanted to clarify.
Yeah. No, if you look, he has an unconventional bow hole,
He's like this.
but he plays so well.
Yep.
Now, I think it doesn't mean just play however you want. What it means is it's more important to understand what you're trying to achieve. So what is good music and why that happens, right?
Yes.
Once you can understand the principles of what will get you the sound you want, then it's just about figuring out the most efficient way to do it so you can play concertos without injuring yourself. Rather than try going, hey, my teacher said press less, so just press less. Understand how to hear resonance, understand what are the different things you can change to affect resonance, and then figure out for yourself how to do it.
And a lot of the things are very subtle. When I'm doing a down bow, for example, I'm already thinking about the amount of weight in each of my right fingers as I go down the bow. So right now the weight's on my pinky, and I feel it as I go down the bow towards my first finger.
Yeah.
You have to play around with it.
Yeah.
You almost can't see it physically move, but you can feel the pressure.
Yeah. Again, I think a great teacher
Yes.
will do big on this, but I think this is such a big one because I know every conservatory student relates to this. I remember I had a cello friend, she's like, I always play like this, but then my teacher said it was bad, so I changed to this. But today I got a lesson and the person says actually you should do this. After music uni, I spent a lot of money, self-funded a trip to Europe to learn from a lot of great teachers, and they're very expensive teachers, right? They're like prestigious teachers, it costs like $400 an hour, like insane, right? And so I always remember I went to a lesson.
We're
Teacher
not
was
gonna
like,
say the name.
no names here.
No names, no
But
names.
this teacher was like, anyway, so pissed. But he told me, Heifetz always looked at his contact point. So look here, right? Always look. So then my next lesson, I went to Germany, took the train. I was like, okay, look here. And the teacher's like, why are you looking? I'm like, oh, because when you look at contact points, they're like, what, so blind people can't play the violin now? It's bad because you're getting tension in your neck. Don't look at the violin. But I mean, you get it though, like, it's not necessarily bad advice in the sense that, I mean, some, Heifetz does look at it.
Yeah, Heifetz
right?
does, yeah.
As a beginner, you need some framework. Tell this to beginner, they don't know, so just tell the beginner, finger here.
Or keep the bow straight. Things,
just get it started, right? But at a certain point, you got to realize it's more important to know why than what.
Yes. So Eddie's case, looking at it was probably because you want to make sure you have a contact point there, and the contact point is to make a consistent resonant sound.
And then you can decide whether you want to achieve that contact by looking at it or through not looking at it.
Exactly.
Right. Likewise, why didn't you want me to look at it? Because there's tension in my neck. Well, why do I need to get rid of the tension in my neck? Is there a way I can look at it without having tension in my neck?
Yeah.
And actually, one of the best advices that was good teacher gave us in specific regards to that, right? Is she said rather than that there's one fixed posture that's what's correct, usually a better rule of thumb is to make sure that you're able to move.
Yes.
Because if you're locked, no posture is good the moment you're locked.
Yes, a good teacher will be able to...
They'll be able to teach you the principles that guide the
you
technique.
to find a posture.
Yeah,
and you'll
posture.
find your own thing.
Yeah.
Right, fourth one, center of gravity in left hand. Oh,
This is a huge one.
Eddie learned this recently as well.
I
mean,
had
you knew
known
it.
about it, but I forgot about it.
It's one of those,
I
like,
feel
yeah,
like a lot
yeah,
of things you have to be reminded.
I know, yeah. Same, like, I learned about this. I remember learning about it when I was 15 exactly.
Yeah.
With quite a good teacher who kind of got my going to the second point, the good foundation.
Yes.
And the one thing they talked about is the center of gravity in left hand. And Eddie and I had this epiphany again recently.
Yeah, well, Hillary was giving me a lesson on my
very good,
Sibelius.
very good.
And she was like, you're struggling with intonation, hey? Well, is your center of gravity on your second or third finger? I'm like,
Of course.
of course.
Yeah. So basically, center of gravity is where the weight is going to be on your left hand at any given time. Any position. If my center of gravity is near my first finger, it'll be more like this.
Yeah.
I have to really reach out just to get to the fourth finger. Fourth finger. Now, if I suddenly shift my gravity from here to second finger, can you guys see that difference? To the third finger, even more. To the fourth finger, and that is super important in order to be able to play in tune.
Yeah, fourth finger will be like here and you reach back for the
back.
one. Pure one will be here and you reach forward with the fourth.
Yes. Tenths, for example, tenths is like a... It's important for me to be more on the third and fourth finger and stretch back on the first finger. Because if it's the other way around, it's really not helpful.
If you're playing out of tune, if you find your shifts are heavy, if you find trouble with double stops, anything with left hand, check two things. Check that you're not tense somewhere in your joints.
Or generally it's like the first
thumb.
finger and the thumb.
And if it's not tension, then it's probably your center of gravity.
It's so true.
Yeah.
When you go shit. So if I'm still on the first...
Yeah, usually you want to be around 2 and 3.
Everyone's going to be like, oh, it's the fourth finger.
I said 1 4 because it's the extremes,
Yeah.
but usually the weight should be around your second and third. I think it shows with your wrist and also shows with thumb position.
Yeah. Next one, last one.
I wish I learned this earlier.
Oh yeah, like I think Eddie would have really benefited from this one.
Yeah, last one is find a good instrument.
Find a good instrument. Now, I'm not saying you gotta spend hundreds of thousands, tens
Yeah.
of thousands, but
Or find a good instrument and also don't be scammed because
yeah.
a lot of expensive instruments aren't good instruments.
Yes.
That's the other thing.
Don't just think it's expensive, it's good.
Check out our video where we talk about the dark side of the industry if you want to know more about buying instruments. Now, I think it goes both ways, right? Like, your development isn't limited to your violin on some level because you don't want not having the best instrument to be an excuse. There are a lot of things you can improve as a player, right?
Yes.
Like, high frets could still sound really good on a crappy violin.
Oh, you.
The reality, though, is at a certain point, if your growth and the sounds that you need to make is being capped by a violin that just can't make those sounds.
Case in hand.
Yeah, my old violin was one where it couldn't make enough resonance or it got crushed too easily, and I was actually developing bad technique.
I remember, yeah, because your technique changed.
To lighten my bow unnaturally so
the violin can actually
not sound over
sound overpressed. It's not even to have that much resonance, it's
Yeah.
not sound overpressed.
Yeah, again, it's not an excuse to not practice, but going back, if I had the choice to buy a better instrument earlier, I would have done so.
Yeah, you would have done uni straight up.
Straight up. It's just it's frustrating because it's hard to find a valuable instrument, that's worth it because there's so many expensive ones, right?
Yep, from what you're looking for back then,
Yeah.
like it was a big change, like a big
Yeah.
commitment. Like buying a violin as a uni student is a huge commitment.
Yeah.
I stuck with my old one for like 14 years. You don't have the luxury of always changing instruments because you also get used to the instrument.
Yeah.
And also, like Eddie said, I mean, it's hard to find a balance, but a good instrument will give you better awareness of the sound. So if you have a bad instrument and it can't even resonate,
You don't even know
you
what
don't even know
resonance
what
sound
resonance
like.
you can't even hear what a resonance is, and therefore you can't even develop good technique or
Yeah.
good foundations.
A bad violinist can play on a good instrument, and we can tell the instrument sounds nice, but the player doesn't sound nice.
Oh,
Right? We can
100%.
tell. But I think just like if you can get a better instrument when it makes sense for your development, do it.
That's it, guys. Oh, there's one more, of course. Sixth one, we'll give you a bonus one because we're feeling really generous today.
Yeah.
Super duper generous.
Yeah. And because you subscribed, right?
Yeah, because you subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, we're gonna wait another 5 seconds. All right, subscribe now. The sixth and bonus advice is
Practice. Practice a lot more.
practice like your life depended on it.
Yes. 40 hours a day.
Yes.
Like, actually, though. Like,
Yeah.
practice. And
Yeah.
practice intelligently, but
Yeah.
practice a lot as
Yes.
well. Because you won't even know how to practice intelligently unless you practice stupidly and realize how stupid
Exactly.
and then you learn to practice
Exactly.
intelligently.
So practice.
Practicing.
Yeah, practice
Oh,
practicing.
that's meta.
Practicing.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's it. You've already subscribed, so I'm not gonna say that.
But like the button.
Yes, but
and
like,
comment.
best of luck. Remember, practice.